I like to think that I'm a big enough man to admit when I'm wrong, or at least when there's something new that I could learn. And indeed, we should all keep learning. And today is a perfect example of that. I'm going to kind of give you guys a brief update here to some things that I've learned about the Transformers Power of the Prime's Beachcomber, Scrapnel, and Rodimus Prime, who I was pretty hard on in my review. Stick around, this is going to be brief, but I thought that it was information that you could use just as much as I did. And that's going to be our focus in this quick little GotBot True review. Hey guys, I'm trying something new with this little introduction before we get into the toys at hand. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and it is so very important now to have your support. Please subscribe. Check me out everywhere. Check out Machinery of Man and the Everything Factor. Spend some time on the channel. See what it is that catches your interest. There's certainly some interesting stuff coming up. Now, I just said I can admit when I'm wrong or when I can learn something. I have a couple of brief updates that I want to just show you guys concerning two of the Legends class figures, and they're very minor, but I think it's worth noting. I've seen them a few places now, but most notably with Tambiota. I love the daily review from that guy, so shout out to Tambiota for kind of giving me this new information that I am now handing along to you if you haven't seen it. The other concerns a couple of things that I learned about Rodimus Prime, who I was very hard on, though he's been polarizing, admittedly. One of those pieces of information in particular, I really have to give a shout out to E Before I Reviews. The other is a base mode, which I also saw there, but I do believe it came from Wesley Dixon Jr. Great guy. We've talked a bunch of times. Always passionate, opinionated, but always a gent at the same time. So if you have seen these updates elsewhere, great. If you haven't and it's new to you, then hopefully it helps you. Does it affect my score, my grade, my evaluation of any of these three figures? Well, stick around and we'll find out. Let's move over to the table and have a closer look at them. So first and foremost, we have Beachcomber. And I didn't realize this at the time, but this is the, I guess, blaster piece that came with Micronus. On the back of Beachcomber, there are actually a few little holes that I guess are 3mm slots, and the bottom of this particular piece has sort of a longer 3mm slot. It can fit down in that hole, which is pretty fantastic. It allows that to kind of go over the top of the dune buggy mode. That being said, a lot of people wonder, can Vector Prime's accessory also work with it? Well, not quite, but kind of. The little peg section on Vector Prime is not as long, so you're not going to be able to place it and have it up over the top. It's just going to pop off. But what you can do, using this little peg hole right here, is take this piece and you can put it in that way so that it's facing in reverse. It's an option, and it's a nice way to incorporate another piece, at least, of the Prime Masters that have come out with this new line. Similarly, we have Scrapnel. Now this is the Generations version that came out a few years ago, but the new one is the same thing. I already kind of talked about it, and actually I think during that review I sort of mistransformed the waist of this guy a little bit. I didn't focus on it because I had given him his own attention a long time ago. Nevertheless, that's not what we're here for today. I said that there was not an integration here for the Prime Masters because this was a mold made at a different time. Alas, I was incorrect again, at least to a degree. You see, in this mode, we have a 5mm port kind of between his legs, in his abdomen, sort of under his tummy. It's purple, And originally that's where you would put his reflector, who came with this guy in his initial release. But you can also use it with a Prime Master. For example, with the Liege Maximo, you can take the whole piece, and we have a 5mm peg right there. And that 5mm peg can, in fact, slot in. So technically, though it looks sort of ridiculous, you can certainly do it. So, does it change the score for him or for Beachcomber? No, both of them are great figures. Really great. This is just a nice little add-on. If anything, it probably improves their score by 0.25. But both of these are really strong, at least in my opinion. Now let's look at the last and the most significant and perhaps debatable one. And now we have Rodimus Prime. Okay, I freely admit that this guy was one that I was really hard on. In my final analysis, I said that overall he's about a 5. He feels like a test shot. There are great ideas here. Some of them work, some of them needed refinement. And I do stand by that. I said for me, as a representation, I think it can be an 8. A couple of things to address here. First, a shout out to Graham, who told me that in his mind, the Titan's Return Hot Rod is Hot Rod. This is Rodimus. And when combined with the back here, he becomes like a Super Rodimus. Nice idea. And certainly increases the play value, so I give respect for that. That being said, there's a little bit more that I've learned about this guy that I really feel like I should touch on as a way to sort of update things. The first is with the smaller figure himself. We have this guy here, who is a decent representation of Rodimus. As a matter of fact, just so we can focus on it, I'm going to take the backpack out because we're going to deal with that in a second as well. Now, I don't know if you would say I ruined him or improved him. One of the issues that I had with this guy in this mode is that his legs are highly limited in their articulation, especially their ability to kick forward. Now, that being said, if we bring up his waist skirt, his leg can now kick all the way forward, as can the other one. But there's a price that had to go paid in order to accomplish this. You see, I did some custom work, or attempted to, by cutting away plastic in by his hip joints and pelvis. Now, in doing that, I realized that that whole area is molded in such a way that you needed that plastic there to hold both pieces together. In fact, if you shave it away as I did, you end up having this unfortunate thing happen, or I'm saying this unfortunate thing. Let me undo the backpack here, and if I can, there we go. Oh no. And that's what I was afraid of. Now he's broken. He's ruined. Yes? Well, that depends on how you look at it. And this is one of the things that I'm actually going to give this guy big props for. You see, you can actually still use him quite well like this. Let me explain how. You can fit this piece back down into position, but when we come to the back, what we have is two little, maybe I gotta get this out of the way, two little tabs right here that go into sections of the hood, so we can actually tab that back on, and then we can flip this up around, and this kind of middle section here has another little tab on it that goes into the hood up here. So he's actually still held together securely by 3 spots, securely enough that I can actually take the guy and shake him, and he does not come apart. He feels as solid as he ever did. And I have the added articulation. It would probably affect if I wanted to combine him, but for my purposes, I don't plan to combine him anyway. So, this works well for me. Of course, he's not stood the best there at the moment. Now I know your next question. Can he still transform? Can you do anything with this guy now? Or is he ruined? No, here's the beautiful part. He still can fully transform both into his vehicle mode and into his, I guess, his hot rod vehicle mode and his Rodimus vehicle mode with no problem whatsoever. Because when you put him in the vehicle mode, you have the back leg pieces that peg into this back section, and the arms also peg in to hold everything securely. This whole piece flips around. Now, admittedly, he cannot kick back very well still, because I didn't alter anything back there, but he can certainly take more dynamic poses now, such as, if I lift that out of the way, I don't know, let's do something kind of like this, where he looks and something sort of like that, maybe, you know, as an option. The point is, I wouldn't advise that you try customizing yours like I did to improve the legs. But if you do, and he comes apart in two, don't feel bad, because you still can use the guy. That's good. That is, in my opinion, something that really does help this guy score. Because you can do things like that and he's still not really broken. At least, technically not. Okay, onto his trailer for a moment. Okay, so considering what I have done to him and saying to you that he probably won't be able to combine with this, is there anything you can do with this now? Is this useful in any other capacity than vehicle mode? Yes, it actually is. Now, the first thing that I want to point out, and I really have to, again, give credit to E Before I Reviews for this, because I didn't notice it. On his blaster we have a little rectangular notch right there, and it can actually, in robot mode, attach to this piece, or of course you can just attach it now if you're so inclined, easily like that, so he does not have to hold it in his hand. I did not realize that. That being said, it also has a use here, and I'm going to show it to you now kind of as I saw it. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. Again, I didn't come up with this alternate method. I saw it elsewhere. But you can basically take this whole piece and turn it around. Fantastic. You can open these pieces up. And when we come over here, we can bring up the hip skirt. And now fold the legs forward. And then forward again. Hip skirt's going to have to be all the way up. Forward again. Close in the feet. Push the feet back. Looks great. Open out that section and open out that section. And they can angle back a little bit. But in the end, boom, you actually have that kind of, I don't know, base turret sort of mode, which I think is fantastic. That's not the best of it. The hot rod part of the figure, or the Rodimus if you're in my books, can fit behind and stand at the embankment, no problem. Just like that. And I think that looks excellent. I think this is absolutely stunning. Wesley came up with a fantastic fan mode here, and that's not the best of it. If you want, you can remove the arms, and you can even move him, and Rodimus will move with it. This adds so much versatility that I didn't realize was there. So, that being said, with everything that I've mentioned with this guy, does his score change? Actually, yes. Instead of being a 5, though I still feel like there are things that could have improved here, and he is sort of a test shot, I'm going to give him a 7. It's a better figure than I thought it was. For me personally, as a representation of this character, I'd said it's an 8. Honestly, outside of maybe improving the shoulders a little bit, I don't know if there's a way that I could ask for anything better. I'm gonna give it a 9. It's better than I thought it was. This is the way I picture the guy. This is the way I will use him, and I thank everybody that made me a little more educated about him, and hopefully I've made you a little more educated about him as well. What does this mean for Rodimus Micronus? I think it means that he's probably going to be a little bit better as well, because his color is going to be more uniform with so much more black, and I got plans for that guy. You should check him out. Anyway, as always, I thank you for dropping by and giving me some of your very valuable time. Again, please hit that subscribe button. And I guess the only thing left to say is I look forward to the next time that you and I get together for another visit right here inside the videos.